In the central Brazilian state of Mato Grosso lies the Pantanal, the world's largest wetland ecosystem. During summer it is a lush green wonderland, but come the dry season it is a dry, desolate place, pushing Amazonian-like animals towards water sources and making for some of the best wildlife viewing on earth.
Now, here we are. I'm just taking a little walk just to see if I can find anything. Also, not, it's way too hot in the day. Apart from a few birds, you're not going to see much. But what the Pantanal is basically the largest inland wetland system in the world. The reason for this is that the Amazon basin or Amazon River drains out into the Pantanal, right? Making it to have that continuity which allows animals that live in the Amazon to also live in the Pantanal. But usually, it's not easy to see them in the Pantanal because you don't have the huge thick foliage that you have in the Amazon, especially now during the dry season. So that's why Pantanal is quite busy at this time of year. Another thing about the Pantanal is that it's not actually a nature reserve. Yeah, there's the Pantanal Eco Reserve, which is a bit of a nature reserve, but most of the Pantanal is actually farmland. I'm currently on a farm at the moment. And the reason that farmers can sort of coexist with nature here because they made it part of their business. So usually these areas are cattle farms, but as you can see, there's a lot of area. There's not that many cattle to go around. So what these farms do is in the on season, which is the dry season, runs from about June all the way to November. These farms will open up their lodges for people to come stay here and do safaris within these lodges and see the Pantanal's wildlife. Right? The only major threat to any livestock here is most probably jaguars, but even jaguars usually want to take something down as big as cows. So they don't compete on that front. And they realize that the wildlife itself gives them another source of income. So, hence the Pantanals. I think that's the proof of an animal called a tapir, that's what I'm looking for.
The heat of the day meant there wouldn't be much luck until a bright and early rise the next morning, where animals took advantage of some food that the farmhouse was putting out. Here are some of the captures. First came the coatis, a small anteater-like animal. They were quickly followed by the capuchin monkeys, and straight after that the toucans, with many other birds which I do not know the names of. We then spotted some howler monkeys, infamous for their loud morning calls. The afternoon then demanded some driving to see some of the bigger fauna. We were lucky enough to see South America's biggest bird, the common rhea. This was closely followed by a beautiful three-toed armadillo, and then some peccaries, which are pig-like animals but not quite pigs, and a tegu lizard, which is a monitor lizard-like animal but not quite a monitor lizard. As evening fell, the tapir, which eluded me earlier, finally came out for a little swim, and I managed to get a good glimpse of this crab-eating nocturnal fox. The next day had us heading towards the river to see some more of the fauna in this region. This took us through caiman-infested waters, which are again related to crocodiles but not exactly crocodiles, as they seek refuge from the dry season. I then saw something slithery on the road, and to my excitement it was a yellow anaconda. They were a lot more skittish than we made to believe, which made getting a picture really hard, but I did manage to get this picture. The yellow anaconda is also much smaller than the green anaconda, which can be found towards the center forest areas of Brazil. As the sun set, we reached the Cuiaba River, in the town of Porto Jofre, also known as Jaguar land. We were greeted by the jewel of the river, the hyacinth macaw.
So this is Jaguar land, Porto Jofre. See just a few lodges scattered around the place. And then people just stay here for a couple of nights and go into the river and look for jaguars. It's right at the end of this Transistria road which is supposed to connect the north to south Pantanal, but doesn't. It stops here and then you have to fly or go by boat to the other side of the Pantanal from here. So now it's about sunset, and because this place has one of the highest concentrations of jaguars in the world, I'm allowed to walk around at night. During the day they seem to be okay with it. I'll show you now where the boats sort of duck out from. There's most probably a community of not more than about 50 or 60 people staying just around here. Some of them helping out in the lodges, some of them doing boats, with the boats, working with the boats and guides and those sort of things. But yeah, not many permanent residents out here. So people are carrying up fuel and all those things, because at the end of the day now all the boats have gone out. Yeah, but how stunning is this?
This is not a place if you have arachnophobia. I'll tell you that. So this is on the banks of the Cuiaba River. Basically, they set up all these lodges, and you come in and you just stay here the night, very simple stuff, and got on a boat in the day. Hopefully to find some jaguars. The boats typically set off at about 7 a.m. and during the dry season it's almost guaranteed to see some jaguars. But there are lots of other animals on these rivers, including anacondas, tapirs, giant otters, and green iguanas. I'll let the pictures speak for themselves. The usual trip finishes about 5 p.m. lasting the whole day, coming back just in time for sunset and another staple rice and beans supper.
So that's the Cuiaba River by sunset. These are the little boats that you go out in. And yeah, look for stuff, you can see all people. This is the usual path that they take. It looks absolutely gorgeous now at sunset.
The next morning we made our way back through the Pantanal to the biggest city in the Pantanal, Cuiaba.
In the city of Cuiaba. It's something I haven't needed in Brazil is access to Wi-Fi. So I'm going out to see if I can get a Brazilian SIM card. I'm told it's going to be hard, but we'll see how that goes. Apparently they want a text number or something like that. I'm trying to find out where it is, but there's a political rally. People are more interested in that. I went to the only cell phone shop in the mall here. She says she can't help me. Didn't even look, so no, I can't help you. Okay. I'm almost certain you can get to SIM cards here. I've seen other people say just walk into a shop and see. So we'll see what happens with that.
I didn't have any luck. Brazil is definitely one of the hardest countries to get a SIM card in, and I spent the rest of the evening walking around Cuiaba where nothing much really does happen. Despite the city centre being quite an affluent area, there wasn't really much to do in Cuiaba.